she is talking about and admitting to the fear that exists for standing in the way of Trump's agenda. We have seen this behavior for quite some time now. We haven't seen anybody openly admit to it, but we've seen it. We're aware of it. So here is the question that I have for you. Is she better or worse for saying the thing? Hey, shout out to all of the subscribers and members here on the channel. My name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. Just in case you guys haven't been sufficiently outraged so far in 2025, here is Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski talking to local business leaders and nonprofit owners in Alaska.
What do you have to say to people who are afraid, or who represent people who are afraid? We are all afraid.
I'm sorry, come again?
What do you have to say to people who are afraid, or who represent people who are afraid? We are all afraid.
That's what I want to hear. You know what I mean? That's exactly what I want to hear. When my daughter comes to me at night, she's like, "Oh, I'm scared. There's monsters in the closet." I'm scared too. Matter of fact, why don't you check that closet for me? You check one for me. I check one for you.
It's quite a statement.
It is quite a statement, Lisa Murkowski, especially considering this was you.
I am going to give you every last breath that I have, and I'm going to try to solve every little problem. And I'm not going to compromise my own integrity by hiding from my words when I feel they need to be spoken. I'm going to take the criticism that comes, and it may be that Elon Musk has decided he's going to take the next $1 billion that he makes off of Starlink and put it directly against Lisa Murkowski. And you know what? That may happen. But I'm not giving up 1 minute, one opportunity to try to stand up for Alaskans. But I got to figure out how to do that. And I need Alaskans' help to tell me what they're feeling so that I can help deal with that.
You know the date on that? You know the date on that? A month ago. That was a month ago. A month ago, you was out here with your chest puffed out. Now, all of a sudden, you are also afraid. Now, what would have happened in the last month? That is crazy. You did mention Elon Musk. Would it have anything to do with him taking that L in Wisconsin? I mean, why would that make you more afraid? You know, none of this is making a lick of sense. But I am glad that we got that footage, though, because yeah, that's you right there.
Shit, nigga had me scared, but I held my own.
But we are, we're in a time and a place where I don't know. I certainly have not been here before. And I'll tell you, I'm oftentimes very anxious myself about using my voice.
Oh, I've been there before. I definitely been there before. I remember when I was a freshman in high school, I was terrified of asking anybody to go to homecoming with me. I definitely remember that. I remember I would just walk over to the girls' school and all of a sudden I would just clam up like I couldn't say nothing. Because I knew they was going to say no and I was going to get dragged. I already knew. But I did it because I felt like I needed to move through the no's to get to the yeses. And I also figured that one day it would make a good story on YouTube. So that worked out quite well for me. And while we're on the topic, did you guys see that Bank of America just announced a data breach? Hey, where you going? No. don't feel bad. Here's what's crazy. They didn't tell anybody for months. And that's not unusual. On average, it takes a company 277 days to report a breach. 277 days? Good Lord, that's a long time. You can clear out my account in 27 days. Your personal data could have been exposed months ago, and you're just hearing about it now. Now, wait a minute, because that would mean that I could be exposed right now, and I don't know about it. That's good information. That's good because I was trying to figure out how I was going to explain these charges to my wife, and you know what I mean. I'm gonna just send it. You know what I mean. It's a breach. I wasn't down there. That's why it's a really important time to be talking about today's sponsor, Aura. Aura alerts me if they find my phone number, email, or social security number on the dark web, or if anyone tries to use that information to access my credit or bank accounts. And if they use it to access my bank account, my condolences. They give me up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. They also provide several other features to help keep you safe online inside of one convenient app. You can go to my link, aura.com/Reese Waters, to try 14 days for free. And that 14 days is significant because that is actually enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data is exposed. You'll learn about it before one of these companies are forced to notify you. The only thing most of these companies are going to do to help is to offer free credit monitoring. Yeah, after the fact. Yeah, I would like to report a robbery. You going to monitor the area. You think they're going to come back? Now, I get it. There's so many data breaches. Your social security number might as well be written on the inside of a porta potty. But if you haven't been the victim of fraud yet, I can tell you, you don't want them problems. Let Aura do the hard work for you. I personally can't leave myself and my family vulnerable to these data breaches. And if you don't want to either, you can go to aura.com/Reese Waters to try 2 weeks for free. And I want to thank Aura for sponsoring this video. I did what I needed to do, carrying the responsibility of being just one teenager. You, on the other hand, are a grown adult. You are a grown adult with not just the responsibility of being grown, but also the responsibility of being a senator for a state. You represent all these other people. And you mean to tell me you scared of using your voice? I wonder if you mention that in any of your campaign stuff. You know what I mean? I'm Lisa Murkowski, vote me for the Senate. I ain't gonna say nothing. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna hang out in the back. You know what I mean? I will be the Alaska I'm just gonna be over there on the side. You won't even know I'm there.
Because retaliation is real. And that's not right. But that's what you've asked me to do.
Because retaliation is real. Because retaliation is real. Let me show you something. Let me show you something right here. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. Now that is both the oath of the United States Senate and Chick-fil-A. But you working at one of those places, that is the oath of office that you took. Nowhere does it say, well, unless they're big and scary, or I will defend America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, unless there's retribution involved. Then all bets off. All bets off. And just imagine what you are saying, the retribution. So you mean to tell me you thought that defending America against enemies, foreign and domestic, was just always going to be the easy road, huh? You thought that was just always going to be sunflowers and daffodils every single time. That's what you thought. I guess it makes sense why you would have ran for a job like that, considering, you're predisposed to being scared to use your voice. It makes sense you would have ran for a job like that feeling like the right thing to do would always be the easy road. And let's also keep this in mind, the fact that this whole idea of America first, we are America first, the will of the people, you are openly and willingly admitting to the fact that it is what they want to do. It is big and scary first. It is retribution first. It is whoever is swinging the biggest stick first, because everybody else is scared of retribution. And while we're on the topic of retribution, I believe Ken Buck had something to say about that.
So far, I've had 4 death threats. I've been evicted from my office in Colorado. I have notice of an eviction because the landlord is mad with my voting record on the speaker issue. And everybody in the conference is getting this. So it's natural. Family members have been approached and threatened. All kinds of things are going on. There's going to be some tension. 4
death threats, Congressman, because you're not supporting Jim Jordan?
That's right.
Now, I don't happen to know this landlord personally. At least I don't think I do. I don't think Ken Buck is staying in any of my places. Okay, because I was going to say, I sent out some eviction notices earlier, man. I don't. He one of mine. Now, I don't know this landlord personally, but I'm going to guess that if he is reacting this way to Ken Buck based on his political leanings and the things that he's had to say, that this is somebody that probably has patriot in his bio on social media. Yet he cannot abide anybody living in one of his domiciles exercising their constitutional right. And in this particular case, trying to preserve our ability to do the same. These are the patriots that we speak of. Joe Walsh, zero sympathy. I have zero sympathy for Republicans who are afraid to speak out against Trump for fear of retaliation. Many of us Republicans did publicly speak out against Trump years ago, and we lost everything. We ended our careers as Republicans, and we've endured years of threats and hate. And these same Republicans today who said they are afraid did not stand with us then. Most attacked us then. Look, doing the right thing is hard, but we have zero sympathy for politicians who are afraid to do the right thing. And there you have quite a stance from somebody who, in fact, has dealt with the retribution. And that retribution was greenlit by the silence and, in some cases, the participation of the Lisa Murkowskis in the space. Now you have painted yourself into a place where you are afraid of even looking up or breathing out of turn because you've seen what's happened to everybody else. And guess whose fault that is? That's right. Pick me behavior ain't just for black MAGAs. And while we're speaking of black MAGAs, you might be asking me, well, where is Ken Buck right now? What is Ken Buck up to? He chose to leave. He chose to leave. He picked up his stuff willingly and walked on. He did the thing that Vivek said he did. Yeah, the thing that Vivek said he did and the thing that Elon Musk is going to tell us he's going to do. The thing that I've said that I did to that law firm. Oh, no, I decided that unemployment was too high for me to be going to work every day. That story, he actually did that. He decided to leave. And guess what, Lisa Murkowski? You are free to do the same.
And so I'm going to use my voice to the best of my ability. And sometimes it will be viewed in a way that, well, that's pretty confrontational. And other times it's going to be using my mother's charm that I learned as a young girl.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't use your mother's charm on Trump. That's not going to go good. Just trust me. I don't even want to see it.
And in direct communication with those that I've made relationships with, and am able to affect some change that way. But I've got to figure out how I can do my best to help the many who are so anxious and are so afraid.
Now, here we have an interesting quandary. She is talking about and admitting to the fear that exists for standing in the way of Trump's agenda. We have seen this behavior for quite some time now. We haven't seen anybody openly admit to it, but we've seen it. We're aware of it. So here is the question that I have for you. Is she better or worse for saying the thing? You know what I mean? Like, as triggering as this is to hear and see admitted to, does this make her better or worse? You know, because the rest of them sitting in the back doing the thing without even the courage to say the thing. This kind of reminds me of when I admitted to my boys I was in therapy. You know what I mean? I admitted to my boys I was in therapy, and they gave me credit for having the courage to seek help and being open and transparent about trying to build myself into a better man. But they still roasted me in the group chat, though. I mean, really, matter of fact, they still on me for that one. And I know half of them in therapy right now. They just won't admit it. You look at these mugs right here. This is the Republican caucus right here. We got Tom Cotton of Arkansas, who's afraid of facts and logic. We got Jim Banks of Indiana, who's afraid of his own constituents, especially by the elevator. You got Katie Britt of Alabama, who must be terrified of AI. She has to be terrified of AI because once they get a fully functional AI, they have no use for the first generation Katie Britt model. Thank you. We got Susan Collins of Maine and Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee, who are terrified of pretending like they're going to hold out and folding at the last possible minute. We got Ted Cruz of Texas, who couldn't stand up to a storm or even have a competent story in the face of the storm. We got Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, who's got to be terrified of what Laura Loomer has on him. We got Josh Hawley of Missouri, who must be terrified of us seeing where he really spends his nights. We got John Kennedy of Louisiana, who's terrified of that footage of him speaking like a normal human being. We got Mitch McConnell of Kentucky. Now, he at this moment in time is scared of absolutely nothing because he knows he's leaving. So he's actually one of the people that has been reasonably honest. But he's also one of the people whose feet we can lay our current situation. So thanks for that, Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell got to be terrified of history. Mitch McConnell got to be terrified. For my money, the Donald Trump 47 chapter of history, the introductory paragraph will include Mitch McConnell. It will also include Merrick Garland as well, if we're being honest. You know what? If it's up to me, I'm gonna put Herschel Walker and Mini Soldier in there too. Just so they know what kind of ride it's about to be. It's not gonna make no sense. We got Tommy Tuberville of Alabama, who's terrified of Nick Saban. Also apparently terrified of that footage we have of him falling down the steps, because I don't see how he's making fun of how other people walk. And then we get Tim Scott of South Carolina. I mean, what isn't Tim Scott afraid of?
Most of the time, there is not a singular moment when the executive dramatically seizes power. There's not normally a brazen attempt to burn down the Parliament building. No, instead, democracies die when gradually, often quietly and methodically over time, the structures that hold the executive accountable for corruption, for thievery, for wrongdoing, are dismantled. There are 4 institutions that the regime attacks, and attacks relentlessly until those structures of accountability are so disintegrated that even though elections continue to happen, the same party or the same person wins power election after election. And those 4 institutions are the press, the legal profession, universities, and the business community. If you degrade or co-opt these 4 institutions, you never need to have a high-stakes fight with the top court in your country.
And no, that's not all he said. We ain't gonna do Chris Murphy like that. I spent way too much time in Connecticut. The Trump Supreme Court battle is not really the crisis. The crisis is here now. Trump is enacting an insidious, coordinated attack on our institutions of democratic accountability designed to crater democracy before next fall. A long thread to explain the plan and how we stop it. First, just know that MAGA has given up on democracy. Wish it weren't true, but it is. They would rather MAGA rule forever than run a fair election where a Democrat might win. This isn't some vengeance campaign. It's a brazen effort to end democracy. Remember that whole thing I said about the true patriots and the will of the people? I have been sounding this alarm for quite some time, whether we talk about the gerrymandering or the election interference. Poll intimidation? I mean, they set fire to boxes where people had already dropped their votes and want to talk about will of the people. MAGA doesn't want democracy because they want power forever, but also to get away with the thievery and corruption. A true democracy would hold Trump accountable for the mass-scale corruption, the crypto coin, the insider trading, the Musk self-dealing, etc. Notice that he said a true democracy would hold him accountable. A true democracy full of people who take their oaths seriously, unless it's too scary. The modern time-tested way to destroy a democracy is not a coup or burning down the parliament or a public confrontation with the judiciary. It's a slow, methodical campaign to weaken the structures of accountability necessary for the political opposition to win elections. Again, a slow, methodical campaign to weaken the structures of accountability necessary for the political opposition to win elections. Listening to Lisa Murkowski and knowing there's so many more that don't even have the courage to say the thing that she said, I would say the structures of accountability are quite weak. Then he lays down the specific elements of the campaign to weaken those structures of accountability. And you should check out Chris Murphy's Twitter account for more, or an upcoming video. Y'all know I love a good Chris Murphy thread. Hey, what can I say? It's the Hartford in me.
That's not right.
Who's we? I just wonder, who's we?
No, hold on.
No, let me finish. Let me just put a little bit of dressing on this. Because the fact of the matter is, the we are elected officials. Oh. It's not the American people, because the American people are on the street.
Yes, the people are on the street. That is true. Unless they are in the town halls, of course, raising their voice. The whole activist funded by George Soros. Endless money bags, George Soros. He can pay for so much better activists than Elon Musk can get. Elon Musk couldn't even carry Wisconsin. Which brings up an interesting point, because you're so terrified of Elon Musk and Donald Trump. We've seen Elon Musk rebuffed in Wisconsin. We see opposition to Donald Trump daily, everywhere, all of the time. So I'm just wondering exactly where your fear sits respective to how it was before they had to continually deny the existence of opposition and protests that are right in front of your face. I'm just wondering, where's that number at?
Anxious about using my voice. Well, we just talked about, and you just referenced, in 4 separate occasions so far this year, right, the country has come out and said, to both your points, no, we're not afraid. What the hell are you afraid of?
Maybe I'm in the minority here at this table, okay? But I actually took what Senator Murkowski was saying as that they are afraid not for losing their jobs from retaliation from the base, but retaliation from not losing their jobs, but Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and they're afraid. Some of them are afraid for their lives. I mean, I
agree with that.
A firebomb was just thrown through Josh Shapiro's window. Yeah. I think he's afraid for their lives. No, so I'm I'm with the senator on this.
I'm with the senator too.
And that point is well taken. But here's my question. How are you seeing a complete opposing party There's a whole opposing party. It's not like the party is just the Republican Party and he's running up 95, 96% of support of all of Congress with a couple of holdouts. There's a whole opposing party. I'm wondering if this is how you feel, if this is the stress that you're feeling in this exact moment, how would leaning into it be the move? How? I'm like, how does this get better? By empowering them?
There are people who are having direct experience. They've already got the firebombs in their programs that are no longer there.
Right.
In the services they no longer receive.
And the jobs they no longer have.
And the jobs they no longer have. So if they can get up and come out and stand in front of the White House and stand in front of these agencies and buildings that are being shut down and walk the streets of their community and say that this is unacceptable. Mm-hmm. I just don't. The fear for me. I mean, I get it. I agree with
Heath,
you.
you know what? I think I got soft because Michael still just put it on the table for real. He's like, yeah, I might have gotten soft out here.
And amen to that one.
Okay.
I mean, look, it is. If the senators don't know it yet, the people do, and this is a time for choosing. Okay, this is not a time to sit around and wring your hands and say, "Gee, what are they going to say? What are they going to think?" And I do think it is a physical and very visceral fear that they have that either they're going to get sued, they're going to get their jobs are going to be at risk. I think it's much more than just I'm going to lose the next election. I mean, we're 2 years out from an election right now. We just had an election. To see the people in the streets like this and to see Senator Murkowski saying things like that to crowds of people in Alaska, this is different than it has ever been in the past. And that's why you see this visceral reaction in the streets is because people know that something core to who we are as Americans is really at stake by this guy. And it's time to protect it.
And that's why my reaction to her statement was, is she joking? Retaliation, I think she's talking about retaliation from Donald Trump. And if you're so afraid of how he is going to abuse his power, stand in his way.
Thank you.
Don't just sit there and watch. Don't just sit there and vote for his agenda. Block him. Disrupt regular business as usual if you are so afraid. Say that, but also take action behind it. Because if you're afraid as an elected senator who does have protections, then what do you think your constituents are
feeling? You have not only protections, but you have...
One more again. One more again. And send that one all the way to Lisa Murkowski. Email it. It take that long for an email to reach Alaska?
But also take action behind it. Because if you're afraid as an elected senator who does have protections, then what do you think your constituents are feeling?
You have not only protections, but you have power. You can use the power of your chamber to rein in a rogue executive. You don't have to agree to all the appointees that he sends in front of you. You don't have to sit back and let him strip away the power that you have as a member of the House or the member of the Senate. So, I get the fear thing to the point of your supporters are deranged enough to come after me personally. I get that. That's a legitimate fear. But even in the face of that, you got to stand up and say no.
Or get out of the way.
Thank y'all for giving me a little truth serum and shaking me. Okay, y'all were like, hold up. Yes, you are in the minority. And we need you to pull it together.
Get it together.
In love. Okay, call me in. Okay.
It's too early on the Easter morning now. Come on.
Now, here's one thing that I want to acknowledge before we get out, is we all have openly accepted and agreed that the fear that she's referring to is physical. They talked about his supporters and what they have shown they are willing to do. I just find that so fascinating that we talk about that so casually while we let them check Democrats for political rhetoric. I am 2 weeks removed from Pam Bondi trying to come for Jasmine Crockett and the Tesla takedown and them mobilizing officers to protect the dealerships. But we all are casually talking about the real physical fear that she is referring to. And Lisa Murkowski, how do you think we got to that point? Stand up or get out of the way. And that's why I'm troubled. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. And I want to thank you for all your incredible suggestions for guests.
Bruh, man, can I get my seat, man? Don't chill. I shouldn't have sat here, right?
That could join me on my weekly 8 p.m. live. Now you'll see some of your favorite creators, not only on this platform, but other social media platforms, joining me every Tuesday at 8 p.m. So be on the lookout for that. Now, a lot of you guys have already signed up for my newsletter, but we're going to create a written version of the Reese Waters channel and put our stamp on it and allow us to cover some topics we can't always cover in the videos, or maybe some odds and ends that we couldn't get into the videos. It's almost like when you're in the shower and you remember that perfect line that really would have set that argument off. You know, what you really wanted to say to that ex or coworker.
I don't want to bore you any. You know I love you, I love you, I love you.
No, for real. You can sing with me without touching
Come
me.
on.
You wasting your time by singing to me because I'm not listening.
All the stuff that I forgot and just missed that didn't necessarily make the videos, you can find that in the newsletter. You can sign up for that at reesewaters.com. There, you might also see a bunch of new merch. That's right, I teased it. It is finally here. We have new merch on the website, and we'll be continuing to drop new merch, so make sure you check that out at the website. And speaking of merch, I first want to give a shout out to all the fantastic mods, the mod squad here on the channel that does a fantastic job every single day. But one of our originals, my man Dank, sent me this pic with his I'm Troubled t-shirt, and he looks so good in it. I almost went and ordered another one for myself, but then I realized that, you know, I need to get my front porch fixed. Yeah, it's not gonna look that way on me. No, just the O and the B just be it just bow. It'd look like it's a bow shirt. But in the meantime, I want to thank you guys for being such an incredible community, and one that gives me so much hope when I wake up every single day.